You don't imagine that a truck made in the 1950s or 1960s might outdo a modern monster, but believe it, some classic American trucks still have secrets modern ones can't match. Today, I'll take you on a ride through 10 classic American trucks that modern ones still can't beat. And by the end, you'll see why these old machines still have fans and legends. Let me start with a story. Picture a dusty ranch road in the 1970s. A brand new modern pickup shows up, boasting horsepower, fancy suspension, power steering. But behind it, clanking along at low speed, is an old 1957 Chevy 3100. Suddenly, the modern one stalls or cracks apart. The old Chevy keeps going. That contrast stays in people's minds, and that's what we're exploring, what those old trucks had, and what they still teach us today. I'm going to tell you about each truck like telling a short tale, what made it unique, why people loved it, and where it still shows up. So buckle up. You'll want to stick to the end. The last one will surprise you. First up, Chevrolet 3100 Task Force Series, late 1940s to 1950s era. This is one of the earliest ones people point to when they talk about classics. The Chevy 3100 and its successor Task Force Series were simple, tough, and Chevrolet sold them by the thousands. Because they had fewer electronic parts, fewer things to break, and parts were easy to find. These trucks could keep going long after a modern truck would need expensive replacements. What made it special? The strong inline-six engines, simple chassis, parts sharing among models. Also, their step-side, fleet-side styling became iconic. In many rural parts of America, these trucks were workhorses, hauling hay, tools, livestock. The legacy. Today at car shows, restorers bring back 3100s, and you still see them in parades or in restored ranches. They may not beat a modern truck in horsepower, but in longevity, ease of repair, and character, they hold their own. Second, Ford F100, 1950s to 1970s classic variants. Ford's F-Series is legendary, but the mid-century F100s are special in folklore. Back then, Ford built them solid, body on frame, simple mechanicals, huge aftermarket support. A key trait, many of them still run decades later because owners could replace a carburetor or ignition easily, and the suspension and frame were overbuilt. Why people still respect them? In off-road or farm use, these trucks took abuse. Modern trucks are more refined, but that sometimes means more fragile. The F100 of classic era had fewer weak links. Today, many have been restored, hot-rodded, used in shows. Some still plow fields or serve as daily drivers, proving they weren't just pretty, they were real tools. Third, Dodge Power Wagon, 1945-1959 original era. This one is a beast. After World War II, Dodge used military truck know-how to build a powerful work truck. The original Dodge Power Wagon was full four-wheel drive, heavy-duty, rugged gears. In many rough terrain spots, farms, mines, mountain trails, it was nearly unstoppable. What made it special? The transfer case, heavy axles, robust frame. It was built more like a military truck than a civilian pickup. It carried heavy loads, pulled out stuck vehicles, and survived trails that would break lesser trucks. Its legacy. Enthusiasts still build resto mods of power wagons with modern engines, but many parts of the old design are still admired. It also inspired modern recreations. Fourth, Jeffrey Nash Quad, 1913-1928. Now we go back in time. The Jeffrey Quad, later Nash Quad, was a workhorse of the early 20th century. It's not a pickup in the modern sense, but a truck to haul heavy loads and traverse rough roads, muddy trails, battlefield conditions. It introduced innovations like hub reduction gearing and early four-wheel drive. Why it still impresses? Its durability. Many survived decades in harsh service doing what modern trucks might balk at. The engineering was ahead of its time. Its legacy, it's considered a precursor to modern 4WD trucks. The Quad showed that a truck could be more than just a cart on wheels. It could fight mud, steep grades, bad roads. Fifth, Studebaker Tour 3R, late 1940s, early 1950s. Studebaker might not be the first name you think of when it comes to trucks, but the 2R, 3R line had innovations and style. These were light to medium-duty trucks, but sturdy. They featured relatively modern styling for their era, with rounded fenders, good ergonomics, and reliable engines. What made them special? They had a well-balanced design. They were made by a company that also built cars, so they had nicer touches than purely work trucks. Their engines and transmissions were solid. Legacy. You'll still find some restored Studebaker trucks in shows. They remind us that even off-mainstream brands produced trucks that could last and surprise you. Sixth, Jeep Gladiator, J-Series, 1960s, 1980s era. This is one many people know by name. Jeep's pickup line, the Gladiator Jeep Pickup J-Series, ran for decades. It had both rear-wheel and 4WD versions, strong engines, and that Jeep off-road DNA. Why it matters. Jeep buyers wanted rugged trucks that could handle trails. Gladiators were used for both work and recreation. Many still go off-road today in vintage off-road clubs. Unique fact, some were used by the U.S. Army as light utility trucks. Also, the Gladiator kept evolving over decades, which built parts support and a loyal following. Seventh, GMC Chevrolet CK Square Body era, 1970s to 1980s. This era is beloved among truck fans. The square body style, sharp lines, strong sheet metal trucks had heavy frames, simple mechanics, large V8 engines, and parts everywhere. These trucks are often restored or modified today. They offer a balance of classic look with enough performance to be practical. Why they beat modern ones in some senses. Many owners say you can wrench on them in a parking lot. If a bolt breaks, you can find a replacement easily. The simplicity lets people push them hard, off-road or on trails, without fear of complicated electronics failing. Their legacy. These are modern classic trucks. They are often swapped with stronger engines, lifted, used for shows or daily drivers. Eighth, Ford F-150, F-Series classic variants, 1980s, 1990s classic models. Before trucks got overcomplicated, Ford's F-Series in the 1980s and 90s were rugged, relatively simple, and wildly popular. Many are still on the road today. These trucks are almost a bridge between classic and modern. Some say these are the last truly forgiving trucks. What made them special? Easy to fix engines, straightforward electronics, not too many. Strong frames. They could haul, tow, and be used for work. Legacy. Everywhere you go, you see older F-150s still running. They are often entry points for truck restoration or modification. Ninth, Chevrolet GMC heavy-duty trucks, mid-20th century models. Beyond pickups, heavy-duty work trucks of Chevy, GMC from mid-century, are legends in the work world. These include cab-over and conventional trucks used in logging, construction, mining. Their frames, drivetrains, and ruggedness often outlast modern replacements in remote areas. Why they beat modern trucks in certain contexts. In remote sites, farms, mines, logging roads, modern trucks may not hold up to abuse or be easy to repair. But these old heavy-duty trucks were built to be worked hard and repaired with basic tools. Their legacy. Many are preserved in working condition in remote towns, used for nostalgia, or turned into showpieces. 10th, and perhaps the one you'll like best, the wild card, your hidden gem, a lesser-known legend still holding ground. Here I could pick something like an obscure brand or a truck used in a forgotten industrial site that still runs decades later. For instance, some 1940s and 1950s industrial trucks, not even pickup, are still in use in remote mines. Or perhaps trucks built for specific industries, timber, oil field, that survive because they were overbuilt. One notable example, some vintage tow trucks or logging trucks from old American manufacturers still haul in rugged areas, places where modern trucks struggle to maintain or need expensive parts. These machines survive because nobody bothered to overcomplicate them. Their legacy, they inspire custom builders today, parts get reverse engineered, and they're romantic symbols of durability.